Hello and welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Randy Buehler and it is time for a deck tech with the very nattily attired Brian Kibler. The very 5-0 Brian Kibler too, as we record this. You have run the table with this deck. Tell us about it.
It's actually all in the suit.
It's the suit, not the deck?
The deck is an Esper Beatdown deck. It was actually designed by Neil Reeves.
Nice.
And he actually sent the list over to those of us who were staying at the beach house a few days ago.
Okay.
And we were, didn't really want to play Jund Mirrors all day.
Sure.
Like where every game comes down to who runs better with Cascade. So we're just looking for something else to play. We were testing all sorts of control decks, and then we were playing with this. And I mean, it's a piece of work. It's something.
You got your little Ravager affinity here with the Thopter Foundry, Glaze Fiend.
Some of the big interactions in the deck are Glaze Fiend and Thopter Foundry. With Thopter Foundry and Glaze Fiend in play, you can really do the Ravager affinity thing of just sack your artifacts and do a ton of damage with Glaze Fiend.
Sure.
You have Canonist to shut down Cascade, Tidehollow Sculler for disruption, and a bunch of protection from red and flying creatures that can get around the natural defense of the Jund decks.
Sure. Now, the mana base is Borderposts, right?
The mana base is awkward.
Okay.
The mana base.
I'm looking like, is this, how many basic lands is this for 8 Borderposts?
It's 12 basic lands and 4 Sanctums.
Oh, God.
It's a greedy deck. I'm not gonna lie there. It's a very greedy deck, but sometimes you just gotta get greedy, and
so far so good for you.
So far so good.
So is this? Would you change anything if you had?
I've actually been very happy with the deck. Not surprisingly, since I'm 5-0, and I mean, everything's performed really well. I mean, we pretty much expected the field to be what it is. Okay. And there were a few white-green decks that we had an idea of but didn't know how many would show up.
Okay.
And the deck, we're not really certain of that matchup. Depends how many Pride Mages they have, which can be sort of awkward. If they have Pride Mages and a bunch of other removal, it can really make your day kind of frustrating. But
now, last time we were in Honolulu, it was the beach house that took home the title, right?
It was. Now, I wasn't at that one, unfortunately. But,
sure. He's running this deck as well, right?
Herberholtz is playing this deck, as is Ben Rubin, as is Paul Wrightsell.
Now, is the beach house going to win another one?
I hope so.
Let's take a look at the sideboard. I think there's some interesting stuff going on here. Now, path to Exile, but no Celestial Purchase.
Yeah. The big thing here is that the important scary card for you is actually Battlegrace Angel. And you don't care about most of the Jund permanents. If they have a Putrid Leech, if they have a Sprouting Thornax, like those don't block most of your guys. You have a bunch of flyers. But whereas if a green-white or Naya deck plays out a Battlegrace Angel, that matters right away.
That makes sense. And then you got your basic Countersquall. Outlander seems pretty good.
Yeah, Outlander is really good at one of the issues you can have is that you have your pro-red guys and you have your flyers. Sometimes you just need a little more to get through. Your Glaze Fiends get a lot worse after sideboarding against a lot of decks because they play much more of an attrition game, and it can sort of grind out your guys, and you need guys who can consistently do damage. Okay. So these guys fill in.
And now, speaking of grinding out,
we cybered into a limited deck.
Sanctum Gargoyle and Soul Manipulation. There's your card advantage.
Yeah,
everybody wants to booster draft these cards, right?
People have a bunch of removal spells against you. They have their Vithian Renegades. They have Filigree Fracture, whatever.
Nice.
And I mean, they're trying to kill your creatures, and you just keep getting them back.
All right. Well, there you get a look at. Does the deck have a good name?
We've been calling it Esper Stormblade.
Esper Stormblade. Maybe Beach House Beatdown.
That too.
Well.
One of those names will have to stick. But
all right, and there you get a good look at it. Esper Stormblade, Beach House Beatdown, whatever you want to call it. This deck is making some noise here on day 1 of the Pro Tour, and Brian Kibler making some noise too, rocking the suit back on tour and looking to make a deep run. So thanks for chatting with us, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tournament Center. We'll be back with more coverage all weekend long.